All right, welcome everyone to the Wednesday night live show. We had a little bit. Tim, not John, not Lindsay, not Michelle, not even Phillip had technical difficulties, but Mr. Tim does. He's having some issues with Chrome and his camera. Hopefully he'll get that figured out and get back on the show here shortly. But right now you got Michelle and the Stat Queen, Lindsay, is with us, and we've got a lot to talk about today. Let me see what Tim had. Ooh, let me see what Tim brought to the show. Tim was busy. He was just posting shit. 2/3 of disposable vape users, and that's it. I have to open it now so I can read the actual whole headline. The clickbait. Let me just call it what it is. The clickbait headline. I have to read that. And I do not want to join or support your thing here. 2/3 of the disposable vapes users may turn to illegal products after UK ban survey suggests. That's one of Tim's articles. And what is the next one? I got to open it again. Another clickbait one. Timmy. Yes, I am. Hey, guys, am I over 18 years old? Wait, guys, wait. We are not worthy. We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
He just wanted to make an entrance. That's all.
Yeah,
There's no birthday party in here for me. I don't have a bagel shoved in my jeans. God dang. Mr. Han, there's no birthday party in here for me.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good, Tim.
Yeah, I am over 18, so yeah, let me click that there. Cities, real world evidence shows tobacco harm reduction works. I'm just going off for what you're going to do today, Tim. And I think you had one more article.
One of my analyses too.
And Lindsay is going to do her analysis. That is correct. And we're going to let Lindsay go first. How's that? We're going to let her go first with her analysis. So are you ready to go first, Lindsay? I should ask you that. Are you ready to go first?
How do I share my screen?
Well, yeah. I will. We'll get to that here in a second. We got it. I will do that. Here.
Wait to go first. First for what, introductions and saying
hello? Yeah. I got to hear. I'm going to start with Michelle. Michelle, how is your week going?
It's been wet.
It's been wet. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of rain. A whole lot of rain. But it's better now.
This is me. This is when I hear rain in Florida, this is what goes to my head. It's what was his name? Dancing in the Rain. Do you guys? Because it's still hot and humid. Do you guys? And it's raining. Is it still?
Name. I was just watching that one actually. It's such a good.
Yeah.
Why can't I think of his name right now too? Because oh God.
I'm dancing in the rain.
Something.
Fred Astaire.
Fred Astaire.
It was Gene Kelly. Dancing.
Gene Kelly. You're right.
Gene Kelly. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what I picture. Florida people just crap.
Again, Michelle. Of course, I know Poison. If I know who sings "Dancing in the
Rain." There's actually
this is more like a downpour where you can't see 50 feet ahead of you. Period.
Okay,
That
would suck. That would suck. Yeah, that would suck.
It doesn't last for a whole long time, but I was telling Lindsay it's anywhere in the South. That's just what happens.
Yeah. Well, we're glad you're safe and your house didn't float away.
Nope.
Do you own a boat, Michelle?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. No. Okay.
Not anymore.
I interrupted that one. Is it true that the best day, there's two best days for a boat owner: buying it and selling it? Is that true?
Selling it is better. Selling it is better.
Yeah. Believe me, I'm a 3-time boat owner.
was talking about like a jet ski would be kind of fun.
It's kind of fun if you have a flat bottom. Then you can just tie it up outside, and then if you ever need it, you just jump in it, and you've got your boat already there. You just keep it up by the house.
The hurricane comes and floods you out. We're ready to go.
There you go. You don't have to put it next to the water. You just tie it up, close to the front porch, and leave it there.
I got up and showed you guys my flat bottom just now, so I'm safe.
Flat bottom.
Yeah. Lindsey, how's Lindsey's week going?
It's going well. I'm getting some things done that I'm pretty excited about. So and I get to share one of them tonight on the show. So thank you for letting me do that. But so it's just busy. Lots of number Excel sheets, Secretary of State, op-ed writing, podcasts and stuff. So hoping to get to the beach at some point tomorrow since the rain has finally stopped and everything. And my problem is it's Thursday. I like going to the beach on like Tuesday and Wednesdays. There's like, the tourists are very minimal,
Lindsey, we're going to play a game with you, Lindsey. I want you to close your eyes, spin your chair around 3 times, and just point on the map. Just close your eyes, spin your chair 3 times around, and then just touch anywhere on the map, and that's where you're going next.
That's where I'm going next. Okay.
Don't you open your eyes, girl. Now touch the map. Anywhere.
There you go.
My eyes are still closed, so you're gonna have to tell me which way to go.
Okay, all right. Stop.
Yeah.
No, go back the other way. Go back.
No, where she got it.
There you go. There you go. Anywhere. Touch anywhere now. All right. Where'd she pick?
Where did I touch first?
Yeah. Which one did you touch first?
Somewhere over there. Your head was in the way.
She's going to Africa, folks. She's going to Africa.
No.
I'm actually going to Europe at the end of the month for a conference. So
you're going where?
To Europe, to Switzerland, actually.
Nice.
So, yeah, for about 4 days. It'll be a quick trip and everything, but it'll be fun. So
Yes.
Going places.
Yeah.
Yeet, skirt. Sorry, anybody recognizes that.
Yeah, microwave. Same here, man. It just when my yacht's not ready to go, it's just very frustrating. I have to start yelling at the crew. The crew upsets me when my yacht is not ready to go. Man.
What happened here? French fly,
Yeah, I'm gonna go to French Riviera. Come on,
get French chef and everything.
The rowboat out. Mr. Tim, who had camera technical difficulties, but I think I'm going with Michelle's theory. He just wanted to have that grand entrance.
Yeah.
Hey, it's me. I'm here, baby. I'm here.
Pause for effect.
Look at Tim.
What a pain in the ass that was. Come to find out, it was the Logitech software I don't need to open anymore.
Right.
I just let StreamYard access it. Anyway.
Yeah.
So all you nerds out there, if you need any help with your camera, give me a call.
Yeah.
It's probably your Logitech app.
It is.
What did I do? I'm trying to remember. I'm getting a little older. Prevagen might be in my future.
Hey, start taking your vitamins.
I've done the usual. So my boss is on vacation, so I'm spending half of my time screaming at her to get the F off the computer and go enjoy your vacation. I'm wreaking havoc on the help desk system tickets, mostly because she handles all of that, and now it's like a whole new world.
Yeah. We're gonna hit all the Disney movies tonight by the end. Every theme song from every Disney movie.
I'm happy where the people are.
So I'm having fun in there. The big fun was over the weekend. We went out to a little town called Marietta, Georgia, and went to a place called the Dixie Tavern. So very southern of them to name it that. It's kind of like a upscale pizza place, kind of like that, but local band.
Fried green tomato.
Way down yonder. Yeah, I'm way down in the land of Dixie. So local band here always has their record release party there. They're a band called Kickin' Valentina. If anybody wants to go check them out, And they had a band opening for them called the Midnight Devils, who we actually saw twice when we went to the M3 thing. So they were doing their little 2025 tour, which is the Gonna Get Laid tour. That's their name of their tour.
Hell yeah, nice name. I like that.
They're a fun band, way better live than on recording. So the Midnight Devils.
Wow, nice.
Bunch of fun guys. It was a good time. I don't know. For me, it's just regular life. What else? I mowed the grass.
Did you?
What else do you want to know?
That's it, Tim.
Okay.
I shared some news with Lindsey and Michelle. I think you're going to be excited about it, but the original group, Poison, is touring again. Tim, are you excited that Poison, the original group members, are coming back and touring?
Well, I'll say this much. Sure, I'm glad that some of these bands from yesteryear have decided to stick together in their formative years. And I think it's cool. I mean, I'll say this much. Brett has his own thing going on, right? It's called the Brett Michaels Band. And some guys I know actually play in that band. And they're people from my old part of town, Manassas, Virginia, the Fredericksburg area, those areas. Did I say Fredericksburg? Fredericksburg. Anyway, when Brett does those shows, a lot of the songs are slowed down. They're played like like halftime almost. It feels like you're in a time warp. So I'm excited that Poison plays them normal speed. I think it's just to prolong Brett's career. Sure. I'm happy. Sure.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of 50-year-old moms out there that just can't wait to put those leather pants back on.
When Poison comes into town, it's Cougarville, USA. That's all.
You may laugh, but Lindsey brought it up. But do they really still sell hairspray? Is hairspray still a product?
Yeah.
Aquanet in the purple can, extra super hold is still in the stores today, folks. So if you want to go back to destroying the ozone,
I've never bought any. So I
went to a Poison concert back in like 2011 or something, and it was like all of these 40-year-old ladies dressed like they were still in 1980s in high school, and you walked into the bathroom, and that's all you could smell was hairspray. Okay?
Now they have pumps. They have pumps now too. It's a little better.
It's funny because we'll get to vaping here in a minute, but it's like I got to see that transition from hairspray to gel with my kids, and it's just like I had to buy tubs of gel. My wife was like, "Hey, you at the store?" I'm like, "Yeah, get this gel for the boys want," and it's like a freaking big tub of it, dude. I'm like, "What is this stuff?" I'm all shaking and I'm in line.
If you want this, okay, and I don't want to talk in details about it because it's really disgusting. Anybody paying attention to P. Diddy's trial?
Baby oil stock.
Tubs of hair gel. All I'm thinking of is the 1,000 of the gallons of baby lube or baby oil.
Baby oil stocks went skyrocketing. Now they're in decline now. They're not buying.
It's going down so hard. It's going to be ridiculous.
Yes.
And Steve, I have killed many ants with hairspray and a lighter. Tim probably has too. My week has been weird. I have had to work a lot of extra days. Like yesterday was a funny story. I came home yesterday. I usually don't work Monday night. And I came home. I was beat, and I got into the chat and I told everybody in chat the no show today. Some of you even saw the post on X. I was like, no show today. Sorry guys. And Tim it was going with it. Tim went with it for a while, but then I think Tim's brain started working as well. I know it was early in the morning, but Tim goes, "Hey John, it's Tuesday." So so we're here. It's Wednesday and we're back. I've had a real slow week just trying to get my house grandchild proof. My daughter's moving back to Modesto, so she's going to stay here with me for a couple months until she finds a house. So I'm kind of excited to have not so much. I love Aiden. He's the number one grandson, as he likes to say, because he was born first. But there's just something about having the girls around. They make me feel young. They make me have fun. They don't let me sit down for a second, and they want to constantly do things. So it's going to be nice having them here for a month, just pushing me to do things. But I'm going to have to seal the room off because my daughter says, and we just were talking about this, but I say the F word a little too much on podcasts. So I got
You got busted, huh?
Feeling good.
We're over a minute and 30 seconds in.
Yeah, we did good. We did good today. We can say fuck now all we want. We're 15 minutes into the show, so we're good. All right, Timmy, you know what time it is.
I don't have a watch on, but I do know what time it is, John.
Yes.
It's that time of the show when we get out our hairspray. We get out our extra super hold purple can Aquanet.
Hell yeah.
Flip your head upside down. Yeah. Spray a metric, and they said we were ruining the ozone. We didn't. We had our heads upside down when we put that stuff on.
Yeah, we did.
And then we would flip our hair, flip back up, and we would be looking to the sky. Yeah. And we would say with all of our chest, "Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Wednesday Night Live Show, your non-hairspray Wednesday Night Live show." We don't do that shit anymore. That was so 1980. And of course, I still have some guilt over how much I damaged the ozone, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. So let's say hi to all the wonderful people in the chat. Who do we got? Drum roll, please. We got Mallory. Do it your damn self. Gates, what's up, Mallory? How are you? Good to see you on the show. I already said hey already, but I'm saying hey again because that's format. We got Robert, not on a billboard, lawyer on the show. Good to see you, Robert. How are you, sir? Good to see you. I know Steve Toddenham's in here. Steve Emoji King Toddenham is in here.
Yeah.
I was just chatting with him a second ago. We got microwave big yacht oven in the house. What's up, microwave? Massive yacht. Was it a big yacht or a massive yacht? There was a yacht involved.
Massive yacht.
I don't. Yeah. I'm like Schultz. I know nothing. Who else we got in here? I'm scrolling. So far, it's just. Oh, we got James Spallone in the house. James Malone Spallone. I don't know. I just needed to do something that rhymed. It just rolled right off the tongue.
Spallone. Spallone.
Oh, there you go. James Spallone.
James Spillane. Are you mispronouncing?
Sorry. Look, I'm 56, Lindsay. Give me a break. These guys.
Yeah. Hey, Tim. It's
James Spillane. Now we have to.
From New Hampshire. He just wrote that op-ed. A couple weeks ago or something?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, Tim, it's next month's our birthday month, man. It's our birthday. I'm celebrating whole birthday. 57 is a big number, man. I'm taking the whole month. We're gonna celebrate mine and Tim's.
So I'm issuing a correction. At the bottom of the show. Yeah. It's not Spallone, it's Spillane. I can read now. I have been saved. Thank you, Lindsay. Who else we got in here? We got Michael Redfern in the house. Michael, I got to come up with a good one for you, Michael. I'm for now. I'm just going to call you Michael Redfern. He knows it. When I was in Australia, I went to a little town called Redfern. It was a cool little town. And that's it for now. Now. We got 17 peeking in, so maybe they'll just send us free gifts. Is this TikTok? Can we get galaxies on here? I don't know.
Oh, no TikTok. Yeah, it's funny too. I got some people that love TikTok, and then I got those one people that go, "Oh, that's a Chinese company." I'm like, dude, just go and watch the videos, have fun, get stuck there for an hour and a half.
I'm just there for the pet monkeys. I'm just here for the pet monkeys.
No, yeah, the chicken banana ones. I'm just stuck. I have to keep. I don't know if you guys have seen those where there's a chicken dancing around saying "chicken banana, chicken." Banana. I don't know what it is, Lindsay. I'm sorry. It just makes me laugh, and I have to go and look for all of them.
What the world has been reduced to.
That's chicken banana. Chicken banana. Tim's got a bunch of articles that we're going to talk about here pretty soon, but we're going to start the show off with the Stat Queen, Lindsay. Lindsay's going to start the show off.
Oh, okay. So can I share my screen?
We're gonna let you, because you're on your way to whatever part of the world that you pointed to up there on the map. You're not sharing the look.
I'm going to there, but I pointed to here. So
yeah, there you go. It's close enough. As my friend in 8th grade said, this is my friend in 8th grade. He goes, well, it can't be that far. It's this close on the map.
Yeah.
I looked at him like, man, school failed you. Failed you.
South Bend and Indianapolis are pretty close on the map too. And I can tell you, I'm driving down that friggin' interstate. That is, 200 miles of dull. Okay.
Yeah.
God, and
I've traveled down that road plenty of times myself. The only 2 states I've never been to, not to as a truck driver, is South Dakota and North Dakota. The only 2 states.
I've never been to either one.
Nothing ever went there, and nothing ever came out of there. So that tells you.
Stays there.
Dakota for to the capital for work. So I never driven there, but I imagine it'd be boring. I imagine all of those states would be really boring. I know I've driven from Minneapolis to Chicago and then through Wisconsin and then Honestly, at one time I don't know exactly where the hell I was going, but I went through Iowa and then
I don't know, I can't remember the name of the book, but there's several books that are out there that have each state's their go-to thing, like what you need to see in each state. And I think it's a great book if you're traveling the United States and you want to go into these small towns and know what they're famous for. And I can't remember the name of the book.
The big ball of
the big ball yawn. It lets you know why, what makes this city famous. And some of them are like these small towns with 800 people, and what could they possibly be famous for? And it's some stupid nonsense thing, but it's still fun, hey, look, exactly. Look at this. It's the biggest ball of yarn. Big deal. Let's all get back in the RV now.
Yeah. That's all there was, folks, was just a big ball of yarn.
No, hold on. Okay, no, the worst tourist trap. Actually, one of my best friends is from Rhode Island. The other one's from South Carolina. I'm trying to get the Rhode Island one to go down to South Carolina. I'm talking to the South Carolina one the other day, and I was just like, well, we just need to go up. We'll go up to North Carolina. We'll go up to Wilmington. We got to show her south of the border. And my girlfriend's like, no. She doesn't need to be south of the border. I'm like, everybody needs to see south of the border. Okay. You're traveling on 95, one of the world's worst tourist trips. And if you ever have to use the bathroom there, at night when it's dark, it looks like a scene out of a murder.
Hell yeah. So you got your buck knife in one hand and the flashlight in the other, and you're
easily film a horror show, a horror movie there easily. Some demented people, cannibals, from the Carolinas backwoods and stuff coming out.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of interesting places in the United States. You just gotta go look for them, and if you ever want to just drive across the country.
And there's some beautiful places places. Natural stuff that we have. My favorite part of the United States is probably Colonial Parkway out in Virginia that, connects Jamestown to Williamsburg to York.
Yeah.
And it's road that you go 45 miles an hour. They keep it really aesthetically you looking like it's from the 1700s. And I've been to DC so many times in the summer too. And the amount of foreign tourists that are going to DC, and it's just there are so many other places, and I can give you a whole list of things to go see in the States. Okay. Appalachian Mountains, if you're anywhere in Tennessee.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
There's just certain things that you go and you just kind of have to see. Gulf, the Gulf of
Pro America show right now. This is a Pro America show.
The Gulf of Mexico. I'm calling it the Gulf of Florida, but yeah.
You know what we should do? Maybe next week, give you a little bit of time to do a little bit of research at your location. But maybe next week we'll do what your town is famous for. So each one of us will talk about where we live and what makes it such a great place and why is it so famous, or what's there that's famous. That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
I could do that pretty easy.
Yeah. I think we all live in a place that has had somebody or something that's famous for. I mean, Modesto has, quite a few things.
I sit here and say, actually, the one thing that my town is famous for, it's going to give away the town that I live in. Okay?
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
I'm trying to actually keep it a little bit Okay, yeah, I live in Okaloosa County. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Y'all, I mean,
It's a big county. It's a big
go
county.
find out where the hell I live if you're smart enough on Google. Okay, so one of these days I'll just admit to it. I'm just not proud of it myself.
And microwave oven, you are correct. You are correct. They have Mount Rushmore, and then North Carolina, North Dakota has the Olive Garden. That's true. Right on, spot on.
I don't know what North Dakota has actually. Fargo.
Fargo.
That might be like the most famous thing from North Dakota. If you think about it, I mean, they call it the Rough Rider State, and that's from,
Rough Rider. Yeah.
That's true, right?
Yeah, I don't know why they call it that, but
I'm not good. It's for another show. I'm not going to go into it.
And it was cold as hell. So I mean, it was like, but I imagine in the summertime it's really nice, especially because like they're closer to the north. They're more in the north. So like the sun doesn't go down until 10 p.m. up there. Yeah. During the summer months. So.
All right, Lindsay. If you look down at your browser there, it says present.
Yeah.
And you can click that. And then if you have if you have whatever you want opened to share, it will show up on there. It'll say like Windows Dock or Tab.
Oh, is it
no, you gotta do
screen, okay?
Yeah, share screen, then it'll give you a list.
Yeah.
Share screen gives me a list. Okay, and up I can open up. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, start sharing.
There you go.
Okay. All right. So, and then how do I?
There.
Oh, stop.
I got you.
Okay. All right. So not everything's done. So I've not. Okay. So you guys know that I do a 50-state analysis. I've been doing them for 5 years. So now I'm putting them on Tobacco Harm Reduction 101. I've got about 30 states done. Hopefully by next week, all 50 states will be done. For the 2025 numbers, which if you've ever noticed with the 50-state analysis, the CDC gives us our numbers. Like I got the 2023 numbers. I was inputting them in like in August of 2024. They're always delayed. So I usually, they're about 2 years delayed whenever I present them for whatever year. So if you don't know what the 50-state analysis is, it's literally, I'm taking data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's Behavioral Risk Factor Surveillance System survey, which annually has been since 1995, has been looking at smoking and smoking among adults. And since I don't know exactly what year, vaping among adults as well, 18 plus. And it breaks it down into a lot of different demographics, but you just have to go and manually input it from the state level. So this year, I've done a little bit of something different because I decided, again, on my state pages on thr101.org, which is thr101.org/whatever state you're looking for, I decided to actually input some more data. So we're just going to look at Florida. So Florida analysis and insight on tobacco and vapor products in the Sunshine State. And you'll see we have the key points that, come into the PDF file. We'll get to the PDF file in a second. So we're not going to go through all these numbers and stuff. I mean, you can read it. I can go read through it in a few weeks when I come back on here, we'll go through the United States ones. But this is what I'm really excited about. We got animated graphs.
Nice.
That just move and stuff. These actually move.
Cool.
I had this opened up, but they move a lot. So then I always do the numbers kind of going back for 20 years, depending on what I can get with the youth numbers. Smoking rates is one of my favorite graphs. That's one of the reasons why I started looking at 50-state analysis, because this whole idea that youth vaping leads to smoking. Well, that green line is young adult smoking, and then look at like how much it actually, just starts decreasing, especially when it started in 2023 being so significantly higher than the, total adult smoking rate. And we got education and income because, let's have more taxes and stuff. And these are all smoking numbers besides the youth one. The CDC only has data for 2016, 2017, 2021, 22, 23. So it's a really kind of a wonky graph to do. Give me about 3 years and we'll be able to make some with and stuff. Then my favorite one, the tobacco monies and everything. And taxes, tobacco control funding just stays the same. And so there's 30 states done, but again, this is the continuation of what I was doing at my previous place of employee. So we do have the PDF file that, I was doing for all the previous years. There's been an addition this year. I started looking at if you were going to sit there and break down all of the adults who were smoking. Of all the adults who were smoking in Florida in 2023, 7.9% were 18 to 24 years old, 35.1% were 25 to 44, and you can see that. So, subsequently, versus like the numbers where they're just looking at 18 to 24-year-olds, what percentage of them were smoking and stuff. And all the other stuff, the race data, the adult using e-cigarettes, what is, you know, what's the Florida actually had a pretty huge increase, and it was a 24.6% increase from 2022, which is again awesome, especially when you're seeing that, you know, youth vaping declined at the same time. And we still have the same for, you know, the same stuff as they've looked like, you know, for previous years. They're just in a different color and everything. And I still have the pictograms because those are pretty sexy. If I do sit there and say myself, like, you know, I mean, everything. So
I had a question for you because it's something something that came to mind.
I got all sourced out and everything. So again, give me till I stopped sharing. Am I good now? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, next Friday, and they'll have a press release out for them and stuff. And as always, guys, THR 101's pretty much, it's a skeleton crew called Lindsey Stroud and everything. So if you see any mistakes or anything in there, please reach out to me. It's easy for me to like go in and double check it and everything. You know, it takes a village, and anybody who wants to do like some editing and stuff, I'm not going to get offended by anything on it or whatnot. I'm going to appreciate the help.
Yeah. I had a question for you too, because was there a significant difference in the numbers? You know, I'm going to keep politics out of this, guys, but with that huge surge of illegals that came into the United States, and knowing that most of them are, I know you're smiling, but I was kind of curious about it because it kind of hit me a couple of days ago. I started thinking, did that smoking rate increase because of a lot? What was it? How many did they say? 9 million came in, somewhere right around there.
The smoking rate hasn't increased, and I highly doubt that illegal immigrants are actually participating in the BRFA survey.
No, I know they're not. But would you say that increased the smoking rate, being that they came in, because most of them are smokers, are going to be smokers?
There hasn't been an increase in the smoking rate. I've only seen a couple states that so far, when pulling the numbers, that's actually saw an increase from 2022 to 2023. Now, in that young adult ones, you're seeing that a little bit.
Right.
But again, and that's really 1 year. So that's the things with these. You can't take it 1 year from another year. It's not enough data to actually see.
Right. Yeah, because a friend of mine brought it up. He was kind of curious.
Doing the same people over and over again, you know. So it's like a whole new set every year that, you know, it's just a kind of a population subset to kind of get some insight on what's going on. And the numbers that I use, by the way, with BRFA are the numbers that the state health departments rely on. They're the numbers that CTFK uses when they're talking about what percentage of adults are smoking or vaping in any given state. And so it's a really good data set. And unfortunately, you don't see that, like, you know, around the world, you don't get that kind of robust data.
I had a friend of mine. I had a friend of mine bring it up.
I'll tell you this one, okay, because this is going to be really interesting, actually. And let me look up the numbers, because I was kind of shocked by it. There's actually 1.5 times the amount of the Hispanic people in America than Black people, actually, out of race. So in 2023, 67% of American adults were white, 6.5% of them were Black, 9.9% were Hispanic.
I believe that. I believe it.
And then actually, with breaking down the numbers on these are those are current smokers, by race and ethnicity. You're going to take, that's one of the things that's one of the reasons why I started looking at the race, because they're like, the group this is the whole United States. The one that's, you know, smokes at the highest rate among their race is American Indian or Alaska Natives, is how they put it there. And it's like 22.2% of them are smoking, compared to 11.95, so about 12% of white people. White people, if you're going to take all the smokers or all the people who smoke in any, you know, that were smoking in 2023, white people made up 72.9% of people smoking. So again, when you're going, and then
what's wrong with whiteys, man? What's wrong with whiteys?
Menthol cigarettes to protect Black people, right? Well, only 7.7% of people smoking were Black. 10% of them were Hispanic. So again, if you really care about public health and want to reduce the burden of smoking, I mean, when you do the one that is like 10 times the amount of the people were smoking that are white, you know, there's 10 times white smokers than like Black smokers. And if you're going to talk about healthcare, like savings, healthcare, whatever and stuff, wouldn't you address that? No, we're just going to ban menthol. Okay.
Yeah. No, that whole thing was a little stupid. And I thought when I saw, I'm going to ban vape, and then menthol. What I thought was funny was when that whole thing started. San Francisco jumped on board real quick and banned menthol cigarettes in the San Francisco area, and people were like, "Dude, I just got to do is drive to Oakland, or I just got to go to Marin, or I got to go to Daly City, or I go to Redwood City. I can still buy my cigarettes. I can still buy my menthol cigarettes." So yeah, I don't know.
Oh, well, you can buy menthol cigarettes. You can go buy, well, and even in California, you can buy them. I mean, you can't. Yeah. One thing with banning the market, and again, like with looking at the national numbers too. I mean, between 2021 and 2022, vaping increased among the adults by 15.8%. I mean, yeah. You're having a decline in youth vaping, and yeah, you've got a massive proliferation of disposable vapes. I mean, increased by like 40% between 2019 and 2021 or 2023. Meanwhile, youth vaping declined by 61.5%. So I mean, it's just, again, I mean, these are adults using these products. You're seeing massive declines in smoking rates, especially when you're looking at the population data. And then also just the sales data. I mean, like Altria's quarterly report, their cigarette sales data are like 13% or something for the first quarter.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, it's working. And unfortunately, these are illegal, unauthorized products, and then it's really hard to actually get into the supply chain on it. But it's just going to be interesting to see what the hell happens over the next few months. And then also moving into, this year, we didn't see a lot of flavor bans at the state level. But you did see a lot of bills that were pushed in play because the federal government's doing such a lackluster job regulating the products. And so next year, that's where I'm really worried, depending on what happens. Because, I mean, they still don't have a director for CTP. They'll probably get a deputy director. And again, how much that person can actually do. It's just going to...
This dog purposely came over here to fart next to me, this damn dog.
That's why I was laughing, not at you.
I swear to God, he just did that on purpose to sit right next to me and go play, go do something. No.
He's telling you something.
we can rent her. We can rent Lindsay out to you 6 months. So you can have her for 6 months, and then yeah. Oh, my other thing. Yeah, we'll rent her out to you for 6 months, and we'll send her to you. But you have to pay for everything. Lindsay needs room and board, a rental car, and tickets to any concerts or shows that are going on in the Netherlands. It's a whole package. You get the whole. We want everything. Mr. Timmy. Lindsay. What happened to Michelle?
I'm here.
Oh, there's Tim.
We don't have Tim.
No. I was like, oh man, Michelle. All right, now Tim. I thought you were Michelle. Michelle, I thought you were Tim. All right, Lindsay. When do you think you're going to get all that done?
Easy mistake to make, John.
Next Friday. Yeah, next Friday. And there'll be a press release coming out of THR 101. I'll be sharing it and everything. Yeah, so if you're following THR 101.org on Twitter or even our Facebook page, you'll see that some of the states that are done. I am kind of sharing some of them, just not kind of like bringing it out there because they're not all done. But I'm working on them right now. After the show, I'm back to sitting on a freaking computer and stuff. But I was impressed with myself that I got 30 of those states actually done in like 48 hours. Okay. It was a lack of sleep, being a crazy woman, a lot of iced tea and stuff, just boom, boom, boom. I got into a flow state. Because it is a lot of work. I have to pull the numbers, the spreadsheets behind it, put it into a Word document, then go format, then make the graphs on Excel. Then I have to go put it into another program to make the PDF. And then with the movable graphs, that's like a 3-part friggin' process involving screen recording and everything. And then finally, and it's always great when I get to that point, when I finally get to go put it on the website and everything. It's like, boom, we only got we were like 90% done with this state. Woo, woo, yeet, yeet, skirt, skirt. So there's a lot of work in it. So
it looks great, Lindsay.
Data, and I know they're useful, and and also, I mean, that was a big project that I had, and I couldn't just let it die. I mean, if somebody else could do it, by all means, knock yourself out. I will freaking train you. Okay?
No, it looks good, and it looks very well professionally done. So when you get ready to share it, everybody out there, you see it on Lindsay's, make sure you share that post and get it out there. Get it out there on Twitter, on social media, Twitter.
And then next year, pending everything, they should be live way before legislative sessions. Okay,
nice.
I'm December. All right.
Nice.
Nice.
Mr. Timmy. You pick it. You pick it. It's a Russian roulette with vape advocacy news.
Round and round.
One bullet. One bullet.
All right. Yeah, I got lots of stuff in the bag today. So I think we're going to start with something I don't have to sign up for. How about that?
Cool.
Yeah.
That's always a plus. That's always a plus.
It's always fun when you go to load an article and then you got to establish a subscription. So I'm going to share the screen, and we're gonna talk about some other statistics as well. This one's a little bit more blatant. Two-thirds. What do they say? Possession is 9/10 of the law.
Yeah.
This is 2/3 of disposable vape users may turn to illegal products after UK ban survey suggests. And I'm sitting here a little miffed, right? I'm actually just sort of like, my head is spinning because we used to hold the UK in such high regard as kind of the bastion of vaping. Like they got it. They understood it. They're the smart ones. They're the Royal College of Physicians. They're the ones that said it's 95% safer. I'm not doubting any of this information.
They didn't say 95% safer. That's Public Health England.
Yeah.
RCP sat there and said unlikely to exceed 5% of the harms.
Okay, so
sorry.
So close. Tomato,
right?
Yeah, let's call the whole thing off. So I don't know. Then you see this stuff and you're like, you know, I thought that they were going to be carrying the torch. Oh, we are talking about disposable vapes, so
yeah.
It's fair game, right? The demonic disposable vapes that are just coming over in kilos over the border that we just can't seem to control. Nearly 2/3. Let me make that a little bit larger because
that's what she said.
I bitch that I can't read anything. My eyes are so bad. I'm going to ruin all you people watching the show. Nearly 2/3, 61% of disposable vape users would consider buying illegal products if readily available after the UK ban, a new survey reveals. Before I start reading, is that because people just have gotten so used to convenience?
Yeah.
If here is your option. We're going to take away disposable vapes, but you can go down and get an RDA and a mod, or you can get like an AIO or something like that to fill the vacuum that that disposable vapes will leave. But yet you're going to run out to the street corner and go buy something illegally on the black market because convenience rules. Convenience rules the mind.
And I don't know if maybe Lindsey knows, but were the disposables prior to this ban, were they available at retail stores? I mean, I know they don't have like 7-Elevens and all this other nonsense all over there, but were they available in your local convenience store?
I mean, honestly, I went over there last summer to the UK. I didn't even really go into a convenience store. I went to grocery stores, actually. So I didn't really get exposed to that. But I think they were like a convenience store. Yeah. I know in other countries, I mean, you have a lot of products. So, I mean, you have heated tobacco products, vapes. I mean, some of the places actually had like little bottles of disposable or liquid and stuff. So yeah, they're available. I mean, in certain places. And then London, I didn't go to any of those stores. So
the only reason I bring that up is because I can see
they had a nicotine limit. So I mean, at that point,
right.
You know, a pod system, but I was vaping 35. So
right. Well, the only reason I say that is because I do understand that they have vape shops there where you can go in and get your liquid, your coils, and your devices and stuff. And I was thinking, you know, one of the reasons is convenience as well, as far as not having to go to a vape shop. I can walk into any UK store and buy a disposable there without ever having to go into it.
I didn't see it like in grocery stores, but I didn't go into any of the liquor.
I've got some pictures that I use for advocacy that shows grocery stores and things right there on, you know, right next to the patches and things. So if they sold patches, then you know, that kind of stuff. And they also sold, you know, other e-cigarettes and juice and things there. And there wasn't a huge selection, but there was something,
I mean, if all the reports are right, I mean, literally in the UK, you could cut your finger and go to the hospital, and they got vape shops in the hospital. That's what they said.
Well, and what you saw too with the UK though, and I mean, I kind of warned some of my friends about this a couple of years ago that I was just like, now that youth vaping is down in America, Bloomberg's gonna turn his attention somewhere else. And they did see like a slight increase in youth use like during like a period, but even the slight increase that they had still was a hell of a lot lower than like what the kids were vaping 5 years ago and everything. It's stuck freaking down, but it's just the way that the rhetoric. And I mean, I also think that they kind of got some shoddy, not really good coordination on the campaigns for advocacy. Oops, I said that out loud. Sorry, sue me, but sorry. Some of these people have spent more time over the past several months talking about the PMTAs and not talking about those bans. So off my lawn, go back. Your whole place is on fire. You probably should go focus on that.
Yeah.
All right. So disposable vapes will be banned in the UK from June 1st under environmental legislation. Further restrictions, such as a ban on e-liquid flavors, are likely to follow under the Tobacco and Vapes bill, which is currently being considered in the House of Lords. However, a new poll by online vape retailer Evapo suggests the legislation could have unintended consequences, pushing adult vapers back to smoking and discouraging smokers from switching to safer alternatives. 2/3, or 67%, of disposable vape users said the products had helped them stop smoking entirely. The overwhelming majority, 93%, said vaping in general had helped them quit the deadly habit, raising concerns over the wider implications of tighter rules. Demand could shift underground. That's such a head.
Hold on. I just read that like a whole different way. I was thinking that it's a New York article on like demand vapes could shift underground. Sorry.
A further 57%. What? Hold on. A further 57% space in between each word. Percent said they would consider stockpiling disposable vapes before the ban, suggesting demand for the products will not disappear and may instead shift underground. Just under a third, 30%, said that higher vape prices due to tax hikes being introduced next year could drive them to return to more dangerous smoking. And 44% said they expect increased vape costs will push many vapers back to smoking and deter smokers from switching. These findings highlight a very real unintended consequence, said Andrei Kutrov, CEO of Smoke, Evapo, whatever. Whilst the intent behind the disposable vape ban and tax increases are understandable, the reality is that a significant number of consumers are signaling that they may turn to unregulated, potentially unsafe products or even return to smoking. Australia, where nicotine vapes are banned outside of pharmacies, has experienced a sharp surge in illicit sales, with the devices easily accessible online and in local shops. In the U.S. and Canada, patchwork bans in some states or regions have led to higher sales of illegal and counterfeit vapes.
Well, I'm going to back this article up for a second. No, what's that led to all these things is not these state bans. It's the freaking FDA that's only authorized 34 freaking products.
Right. Exactly. You limit options, you limit choices. It's not the ban so much.
But it doesn't recognize consumer demand at all. So
yeah, but I mean, but in the UK, I mean, they really before this, they were mostly just dealing with TPD legislation, which limited tank size and
TPD. You're worried about them. The disposable ban. This is all mostly tied to environment and the batteries, and that's the to the landfills is what that that's at least for the past year of articles that they've grabbed onto youth use, but most of it's been the whole waste component of it.
Right. Well, but are the disposables over there different as well with the nicotine? No, so they're getting the 50s over there.
Okay, no, their nicotine it's technically supposed to be lower, but when they see any of these investigations where they go and pull stuff out of people's shops, no, they are in violation of TPD.
Right.
Yeah.
Where was I? In the U.S. and Canada, patchwork bans in some states or regions have led to higher sales of illegal and counterfeit vapes. Unregulated vapes are potentially dangerous as they have not been made to comply with industry-safe standards. Okay, I thought it was still going. Supporting responsible adult vaping is critical, with vaping set to become 60 to 75% pricier from October 2026 due to new e-liquid taxes. Evapo warns that without complementary efforts such as education and safer, accessible alternatives, the UK could face a rising underground market and a resurgence in smoking rates. I got a feeling this quote is going to pop up somewhere else, but Andrei Kutrov said supporting responsible adult vaping and maintaining access to safer alternatives is critical if we want to continue reducing smoking in the UK. The latest poll comes after a recent report found the upcoming ban on disposable vapes may have only a limited impact on the number of people vaping. The study by University College London revealed that there has been a shift away from single-use devices ahead of the ban. However, it says more people are simply opting for refillable vapes. Well, there you go, right?
Yeah.
Go to the alternative. The report funded by Cancer Research UK also suggests the rapid rise in overall vape use seen in Britain in recent years has already stalled. It warns that stricter policy options under review in the controversial tobacco and vapes bill could have unintended consequences by stopping smokers from using vapes to quit the far more harmful habit. Smoking kills around 8 million people globally per year, including around 1.3 million from secondhand smoke exposure. Vapes, which do not cause any tobacco-related illness, are proven to be one of the most effective tools for helping smokers quit.
Amen to that.
Right. So, yeah, it seems like they're just, venturing out onto some of the same pathways that, we're kind of having to start to experience.
Hold on, guys. I got to let this dog out. He's killing me, man.
Well, at least he goes outside. That's always the first challenge of any puppy is to get beyond the housebreaking. But this dog, he's only had it like a month, and the dog's already going out. Yeah, and it's a puppy, and it's already going outside. So
I think he said it was already trained though when he got it.
I could be wrong, but I think cheating. I don't feel I don't feel so happy for him anymore. All right. So that's that. So any opinions on that? I mean, I think we already kind of.
In my opinion, as I've already heard this all before. Yeah, I mean, it's just, there's nothing new on this. There's not. And it's not.
I thought I was reading an article about the United States, and then I realized it was the UK.
It's not even that. I mean, it's like, okay, you could have written that freaking article in 2019. Nothing's really changed besides the fact that Australia's more on fire than, literally on fire now.
Yeah.
I got the dual. I never got the single Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
Did you know Baton Rouge? Here's your trivia for the evening.
Was put me on through.
Yeah.
So, I love young Baton Rouge. Sorry.
Baton Rouge, your user ID has not only a band name in it, but it has an album name in it. So, are you familiar with? Are you familiar with the band Baton Rouge?
But it should be Baton Rouge.
Blink once for yes, twice for no. Anyway, just curious. That was a cool name. 5150 Van Halen, Baton Rouge.
Yeah, totally great album, 5150.
Yeah. Anyway, he's probably like
he's probably 25 and doesn't even know who Van Halen is. No.
Well, if you have any inkling to go check out older late 80s hair metal stuff, go look up a band Baton Rouge, and the song is called "Walks Like a Woman." And then come back and give us a report and tell us.
Jeez, homework. Fucking Tim just dishing out.
We don't look, man, John. We don't let people just come in here and just loiter.
Not do anything.
You have to put in the work. You have to put in the work.
All right.
It's an interactive podcast.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Dang it.
Anyway, It's a good song.
I was just like this whole thing. I mean, I think Lindsey makes a good point, and I think with Bloomberg seeing what's going on here, he's got to send his money elsewhere. But I think there's been a lot of change in I don't know what they call it, Parliament. Yeah, Parliament. I think there's been So I think
they're going to change in Australia Parliament as well. They got their ass handed to them as well. So So
it's kind of sad, but I get again they still have vaping. So I mean, and this does suck, for those people that have gotten used to using a disposable, or those people that just, we talked about it, that have arthritis, they can't get it, they can't get.
But again, how are they going to enforce it? Again, this is where it's like this. You can't like the sky is falling, chicken little. I mean, like we technically all of these disposables are illegal. Look at how many I got. Okay, like
don't let me pull them right out. I got a bunch sitting right here. No, I know.
I use them to the end, but I buy ones before they completely go out and everything. So it's just like, there's still juice left in this one.
It's that fear factor. I do the same thing. I look and it's like 2 bars left, and I go, I better buy another one, and I'll buy one and put it in the glove box, and it's just like just in case.
Yeah, well, I've always had 2 devices anyways, just because I would have to charge one and everything, and so it's just like using different flavors. But
hopefully things change there. I mean, again, I do feel bad, but I like I said, at least they still have the option of walking into a vape shop and getting, a mango vape.
They also have better public health too.
They have better public health.
Public health doesn't do alarmist headlines and everything. They actually give them the facts about vaping. There's probably I don't know about other countries, but I know for a fact there's 3 countries in the world that there are websites that they're public health websites that sit there and say that vaping is safer than smoking, and that it's been shown to help people quit, and that'd be Canada, UK, and New Zealand. That have actually, now are they doing crazy public health campaigns? The billboards? No. I know one organization actually kind of wants to do, I'm not going to give the name of the organization, it's one of the ones that is kind of on our side. They kind of want to do the same thing as like the Real Cost campaign, but do it with vapes and other THR products, which, I mean, if you got $1 million to go do that, I mean, that would be awesome on that part. I mean, that's, I think, with advocacy in general in THR is that it's a ragtag team of little rascals that is he stopping me?
No, I'm having to work my blurry magic, Lindsey.
His camera keeps going.
Stopping me, like, stop, like, shut the fuck up and stuff. I think that we don't have really like a coordinated message. I mean, when you look at like Campaign for Tobacco Free Kids, Truth Initiative. And they're doing this around the world. Even the fucking there it was. I knew I was going to drop it at some point today. I just wrote an op-ed for somebody today, and we're talking. The World No Tobacco Day is May 31st this year. It's one of I found out while doing this research. It's one of 11 global health campaigns that the WHO endorses. It's the 38th anniversary this year, so they've been doing this since like the 80s. And stuff. This year's theme is unmasking the appeal and industry tactics to lure children or whatnot and stuff. They always hyper focus on it, but their big thing is flavors. Mask and all this. And again, you disregard all the survey data that indicate that youth are not overwhelmingly citing flavors as a reason for use. You're also ignoring the fact that youth vaping has declined significantly, and you're ignoring the millions of adults who freaking smoke. At least in what I got from my numbers, it's 20.3 million Americans that are vaping in 2023. That's a hell of a lot of people. Actually, the increase of it was, because I just did the math today,
was 20.1, right?
Math is hard.
So we went from, in 2016, it was 11.5 million. It was 4.6% of adults. Then we got up to 7.8% of adults. And there's over 20.3 million or 20.3 million adults vaping. Current vapers too. That's past month use.
Yep.
Right.
Timmy.
I'm gonna give you guys a choice. We're gonna flip the proverbial coin here.
I say you go to the group sites real world.
Well, hey, wait. There's
I'm
two other
on my
people.
drink.
There's
Give me
2
2
other
seconds.
people on this show.
Okay.
Who?
So no, would you guys rather hear about a group citing real world evidence showing tobacco harm reduction works, or would you like to hear an article from our good friend Skip Murray on where Brian King is nowadays?
Oh, I'll tell you right now which one.
Vote.
Okay, we're gonna go with Skip. We're gonna go with the peanut butter queen, Skip Murray, and her article on where Brian King is off to. We're gonna go follow Brian King's adventures.
You can't blame him, really. That you got how many people? Look at one of the tobacco companies and how many people came from the FDA.
Yep.
He was already there to begin with.
Oh, pretty much, yeah. Because you actually sat there.
Yeah.
Talking to somebody, and when he was on like a round table with Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, and the way that he was talking about like e-cigarettes as a cessation product, that's when you knew. And oh no, he sat there and said that he was part of tobacco control. No, dude, you're the regulator, okay? You are not. There's nothing in here that, as a regulator, that actually that you're supposed to be. Oh, this has to reduce cigarette use. That is not your job. Your job is to make sure that that product is appropriate for the protection of public health. Okay,
right.
That's an MTA product.
He didn't care.
Yeah, that says nothing to do with what. Oh, we need to reduce tobacco use. No, that is not your job as the regulator.
Oh,
sorry.
He thought it was. That's the problem.
That's
Yeah. He wanted extra brownie points.
It's an excellent piece by Skip Murray, by the way. So
okay.
Yeah.
She always writes wonderful stuff. I get her blog. I get her blog in my inbox all the time. So lots of good stuff. A lot of good op-ed.
The only thing she's missing, though, is I don't think she brought up Curtis Wright. And if you want to talk about the revolving door, I mean, I sat there and said it on Twitter about this with this one, because this is how it works with any of the bureaucracy. It's not just the FDA. They go in there, an academic or a doctor or something. They turn into a bureaucrat, and then they come out a fucking shill.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right.
I know I'm right. It doesn't matter what agency it is.
It's like that Wonka boat, right? It's like that Wonka boat. You know, just kind of.
But we do know what direction you are going.
Yeah. Dr. Brian King is a man some tobacco harm reduction advocates love to hate. They felt no sorrow when on April 1st, he was notified of his removal as the director of the United States Food and Drug Administration Center for Tobacco Products. One of thousands of casualties of the Trump administration's Department of Health and Human Services cuts, King had widely been seen by THR proponents as obstructing the authorization of products that help people quit smoking and communicating negatively about vapes. On May 1st, the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids announced that King had joined the nonprofit as an executive vice president for U.S. programs. Shockwaves of indignation reverberated among tobacco harm reduction advocates. Yeah, because and then think about all the money that it's a nonprofit, right? So they got to get their money from somewhere. How much of that actually goes right back into his pocket? The Michael Bloomberg funded organization has long been instrumental in spreading disinformation about safer nicotine products, focusing heavily on their perceived threat to youth and ignoring their critical role for people who smoke. To many THR advocates, King's move was confirmation that he had always been an enemy of tobacco harm reduction. Yeah,
that was obvious.
We knew that.
We knew that. I'm devil's advocate here because I've written stuff with Brian King, and I've seen a lot of the papers that he's written, prior to him even going to FDA and stuff. Brian King does recognize tobacco harm reduction, and he also knows that adults use flavors. I think he just relied too much heavily on the precautionary principle, and I think in his fucking head that he thought that it needed to be 0 kids vaping or whatnot, because he does understand that e-cigarettes are less harmful. And if he doesn't understand that as an epidemiologist, he's a freaking moron. But I don't think it's that way. I just think that he put a lot of onerous over the whole youth use on this, kind of to the detriment of the science. I mean, the whole denial of Juul was a joke. I mean, Juul had probably the best PMTA out there, according to everybody and stuff. And they even got an MDO at first and stuff. So now they're in like the regulatory limbo. But
well, I mean, it's a completely hypocritical ideology on his behalf to even imagine for a second that you would have zero youth usage for anything on this planet. That would
numerous times. What is the permissible number of youth? What is the permissible number of youth using this product? You have the SonyATV amendment, which allows, you know, states to have 20% of compliance checks. You know, kids trying to buy the products, they can have a 20% failure rate. So 20% of kids can access these products. You're at now 5.9% of youth or whatever that were vaping and stuff. I mean, that's what, like 4 times lower than what the SonyATV amendment is. So I mean, this is, again, I think we are at the level of youth use of this one where you can start authorizing products, and then yes, if you see a surge in it, focus on the post-market surveillance and all of that, and also figure out have some enforcement discretion. We already know that kids are overwhelmingly going to use disposables versus using a mod system.
Right.
You know, I mean, have some leeway so there's actually some products, not just the 34. So I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay. Lindsey Stroud for president, everyone. Lindsey Stroud for president.
You know, no, that would involve a lot of people, you know, getting into my past and no. I'm lucky I survived it once. All right.
Sorry, Amazon package.
Okay, that's okay, John. Was it toys for the dog?
It wasn't toys for the dogs.
No, a blow-up doll for the dog.
Yeah. Conspiracy theories began to spread online minutes after the announcement, none of which I believe. Some think King planned to secure a position at CTFK and that some of his actions at the CTP were taken to that end. It's undoubtedly true that King was unapologetic, even defiant about prioritizing youth prevention during his CTP tenure. This emphasis aligns closely with CTFK's and Worry's THR advocates. And if anyone's been watching the show long enough, I'm sure it's still online somewhere. You can go back to one of our previous shows where Allison had him on point and was grilling him. So that's always a good show to watch. He's a rat, man. He's a rat.
He's a rat.
I don't think, honestly, I really know. Hold on. Again, I'm going to play devil's advocate again. I do not think that he had ulterior motives to go to CTFK. And honestly, I was surprised too. I mean, if you know his personal life, I was really surprised that he did not step down when Trump got elected. Again, I don't know actually what his political beliefs are, but like something tells me they don't really align with the current administration. So the fact that he even tried to still stay at CTP, instead of just resigning, because I mean,
every day.
The way that
I think his ego was just too damn big, and I don't think he thought that anybody could kick him out. I mean, he knew he could, but.
He's young. He's like only 2 years. I think he's only like 2 to 4 years older than me. I think he's like 40.
Right.
Yeah.
That's young. That's young for a director of a center at FDA, especially the previous, Mitch Zeller. Right. Come on.
Yeah.
At times, the FDA seems like a giant revolving door where people switch roles between being a regulator, working for nonprofits or consulting firms, or accepting positions with the industry they were once responsible for regulating. Advocates are often leery of these changes, wondering if backdoor deals were involved in the transition. All it says for me is you're throwing them.
If you've ever talked to a former FDA employee who has gone through something else, there's so much like rigmarole and stuff I think they have like a crazy NDA. I mean, you're talking about the federal fucking government. It's not. Everything's like I'm gonna sit here and say 100% kosher because you could get sued for shit like that.
Yep. While laws prohibit these former employees from lobbying, some workarounds allow them to use their influence with FDA staffers still at the agency. Over the past few years, several key CTP staffers have voluntarily left for outside roles. Kathy Crosby, for instance, worked for the CTP for 12 years and was the first director of its Office of Health Communication and Education. She is now the CEO and president of the Truth Initiative, a nonprofit that sees the eradication of commercial, non-medical nicotine as its long-term goal. Crosby worked with King at the FDA and issued a congratulatory statement about his new role during a period of significant transition for public health infrastructure. The different directions former CTP officials have taken provide intriguing clues to their prior thought processes about nicotine products. Dr. Matthew Holman worked at the FDA for over 20 years, including his last position as director of the Office of Science for CTP. He is now vice president and chief scientific and regulatory strategy officer. Put that on a business card for Philip Morris International in the U.S.
They have a hell of a lot more employees than just that guy, though. That came from the FDA.
But they gave him 20 jobs anyways. So like, yeah, just can you be like all of that
I'm
stuff?
okay, dude. I'm honestly okay with it. It doesn't really bother me. Again, I kind of know the parameters of what can happen or whatnot and stuff that. And again, she doesn't bring up Curtis Wright. Once you finish the article, I'll tell everybody about who Curtis Wright is because he's like the worst, okay, of the FDA employees.
I want to hear. I want to know. Mitch Zeller is a former director of the CTP. His long career has included several years in other positions with the FDA and spells at the American Legacy Foundation, now the Truth Initiative, and the pro-THR consulting firm Pinney Associates, before serving as CTP director. Zeller is currently a policy and regulatory strategy advisor to Kinovia, a pharmaceutical company working on a prescription nicotine inhalation device for smoking cessation. Yeah, fine. You go ahead and get the trophy, Mitch. You go ahead and be the winner. All I see is that.
You made me look up. You made me look up because I thought there was somebody in the room, man.
No, all I see is that Fabio gif of him standing there holding a trophy and just replace Fabio's head with his head. That's all I see. Just, yeah, you go ahead and you create the innovation that's been out for over 2 decades that, you know, that we kind of fostered. Now you want to walk out and get the blue ribbon.
Right.
F you, Mitch. Meanwhile, former FDA Commissioner Dr. Scott Gottlieb is on the board of Pfizer, a senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, and a partner at the venture capital firm New Enterprise Associates. When FDA conversations about the continuum of risk and a comprehensive plan for nicotine products began in 2017, THR advocates felt there might be hope for a more balanced regulatory pathway, one that would allow reduced risk products that appeal to people who smoke to be authorized and widely available. 8 years later, advocates are still waiting to see that balance, and the debate is still weighted to the side of youth prevention, while conversations about adults who smoke are given short shrift. The U.S. has reached a record low in youth smoking since vapes have been available, but few public officials are celebrating that victory, of course, because it doesn't fit the narrative. Little improvement occurred during King's CTP tenure, and frustrated THR advocates directed their anger at him, at influential politicians, and at groups such as CTFK. I share those frustrations, even if my interactions with King were more positive than I expected. But King's time at the FDA will also be known for the first authorizations of vaping products in a non-tobacco flavor. Belated though this was.
It is a tobacco flavor. Menthol is a fucking tobacco flavor. I'm sorry. And then
they're all flavors.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's I'll call them non-traditional tobacco flavors when I'm talking about flavors. Okay, menthol is a tobacco flavor. Maybe not in California or in Massachusetts, but
hey. Leave my beautiful state alone, Lindsay.
No, yeah, fall in the ocean. Okay, I got a Tool song for you. Okay.
hey, Lindsay, I'm safe because I
learn how to swim. Okay, just listen because learn how to swim.
Because where the fault line is, Modesto's on the other side of it. So
yeah, you are, huh?
I'm good. So I'm
beachfront property soon. Then
yes, I will end up with some beachfront property. Hopefully, Newsom is on the other side when it does, break apart.
Bye. It'd be like you're waving.
Yeah.
It'd be like all those people waving to the Titanic. Bye-bye.
Well, here's the funny thing. I had a friend. I had a friend bring it up because he, you guys all know what's happening in Africa, where it's splitting and it's creating a whole new land. That part of Africa is splitting away through a fault line. It's separating itself, and it's causing a new ocean and a new continent, or not a continent, well, whatever. But if that would happen to California, that would be great, because they can just break off and just be, their own little country.
Float away. They can secede. They could actually be like, they could secede really. Like, we're God. We're just the Pacific.
And the best part of it all, the part of California that makes all the money, which is the agriculture, would be just damn fine, because that's all on the other side of the fault line. So all the peaches, all the apricots and almonds and walnuts and all the grapes.
All the water will go away. You guys can actually keep all your water for the actual agriculture.
Yeah. Well, it would be perfect. I'll take it. Tim, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's all right. The banter is awesome. And one of the last things King's office did under the Biden administration was to grant marketing orders for several flavors and 2 strengths of nicotine pouches. Way to go, Brian.
Yeah.
Good job, Brian.
Number one. Hold on.
I think that application was pending 4 fucking years, but
let me give him a thumbs up. There you go.
So efficient, man. With CTP, way to go.
There you go. There.
We should reword the Burger King commercial song. Add BK. Have your flavor. No, I don't know. Whatever.
So have your flavors your way.
I always hated calling him
BK. Have your flavor your way. There you go.
Yeah.
I always hated calling him Dr. King and fucking and like op-eds and everything, because I automatically go to MLK. And then I'm like, this guy wants to ban menthol cigarettes. It's just like, really, and everything. And I was thinking of Dr. King and like march to Birmingham, or letter from Birmingham jail and everything. So it's just like, okay, yeah. No, I mean, it's like, I'm going to call him Dr. Brian King every time, not Dr. King. Because, Dr. King is MLK.
Wrong one.
Yeah. It was like a breath of fresh air, a glimmer of hope that the THR needle was finally moving in the right direction. Could the influential public health groups that have opposed THR move a little toward accepting that evolution? Kathy Crosby's Truth Initiative statement about the pouches authorization contained much that THR advocates would object to, but perhaps with its title, Need for Balancing Youth Protection and Adult Access, it represented a slight softening. Like Crosby, King was exposed to reams of data about THR while at CTP. He has overseen the authorization of THR products for adult use, if not enough. And he is on the record as acknowledging the health benefits of switching from cigarettes to safer nicotine products. Despite the role of his own agency in perpetuating misinformation, King co-authored a 2023 commentary which held that efforts to prevent initiation among young people need not preclude efforts among adult smokers to promote cessation and educate about relative risks of tobacco products. Well, don't throw us these little bones and make us think that you care. Some of those positions sit uneasily with the track record of his new employer. It will be interesting to see how those differences are reconciled. At the very least, I don't think hiring King will worsen the campaign for tobacco.
By the way, he only authorized. There's been 34 products authorized. He was only responsible for the authorization of 11 of them.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, there's actually a pretty cool little trending story on there.
He issued 1,544 marketing orders. Now, hold on for a second on that one, because I learned something the other day about those too, by the way. But yeah, 11, that's less than 1%, were for e-cigarettes. 783 of them were for combustible cigarettes, which is more than half. But I learned the other day that, so cigarettes, right? You have that brand name that's like in an ink underneath the filter.
Yeah.
If you're if the person that like the company that you're buying that ink from, if they change anything to that, you as the manufacturer have to actually go and put a new application in for that cigarette product. So I haven't had the time to actually go through these 15,000 freaking tobacco orders to sit there and see what would actually, I mean, when I was talking to the person about that, I was just like, that's wholly inefficient. Like that should just be a supplement application or a supplement to your application. You shouldn't have to literally go through and do a whole new freaking application. I mean, wouldn't this just be so much easier just to get that change? I mean, as long as the ingredients are the same and there's not some chemical in there that's or something, this should be okay. I mean, to go through and be like, okay, they can double check all of that, but yeah. So
that means if they were just to simply change the font, they would have to redo everything.
Yeah, they have to. Yeah, they have to file a whole new application.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Or like an exemption order or something like that. That's for some of the. That's where half of them are coming out on these exempt orders or whatnot. But it's still the amount of paperwork that's like due on that and stuff. And I don't know how quick that turnaround is on those. To tell you the truth, I didn't ask the person that, but yeah, it was. I was just like, oh, well, that makes sense actually. With all the stuff I've seen for doing the PMTAs that I did out in 2020, yeah, I mean, it's not a very efficient agency. I mean, I'm a pack rat with data clearly and everything myself. So I understand being like, you know, thorough and having everything, but yeah, it's just wholly inefficient.
Well, inefficient, but don't you think behind that it's about the money too, right? I mean,
I mean, yeah, well, I mean, that's the problem too. I mean, like what, 85% of the funding that for CTP, because all of the funding comes from user fees. The combustible cigarettes make about 85% of those user fees. So I mean,
I just want to know. So I mean, if they're authorizing marketing orders for tobacco products, like legitimate tobacco products, like cigarettes and things of that nature,
just with the one that you're actually getting new orders for.
Does the PMTA requirement not include the same requirement?
No,
there's nothing for appropriate for protection of public health.
I was going to say, right? Because
products that have to do the SC pathway, there's only been 76 products that have been authorized under the PMTA pathway. 20 of them, which are the recent orders for the Zen products.
Right.
You got one HTP product. You've got, well, technically we have 2 HTP products that are authorized in the market. And one of them's from the 80s, actually, and then the other one's the IQOS, and that one went through the PMTA pathway. You only got 34 e-cigarettes that went through the PMTA pathway. Snus, Swedish Smack Snus went through the PMTA pathway. They actually thought that they had to, from what I understood, that they thought that they had to actually get, in order for you to, because you have the modifier, okay, so you got the PMTA, which, this is all bullshit too. The PMTA is the pre-market tobacco application. That's what you have to get in order for you to sell this product. Now, you're not allowed to make any claims on this, even though the actual freaking order sits there and says that it's appropriate for the protection of public health. And the 2 standards is that the likelihood that it'll help people quit smoking and the likelihood that non-users would pick this up. Those are the 2 standards for that. But the MRTP is what you have to go apply for in order for you to convey the reduced risk. Too, even though all the PMTAs, even though it's not really the standard for APPAH, all of them have sat there and said on these orders that these are less harmful. But the companies can't sit there and actually go and advertise that unless they get the fucking MRTP. Now, you don't actually have to have a PMTA to have an MRTP. Ain't that a king in the hat? I wouldn't be surprised in the next like 5 years that you're going to get some of the products that went down the SC pathway, the substantial equivalent pathway, that are going to be able, and I would probably sit here and say it with cigars. If cigar companies were smart, because I mean, cigars are less harmful than combustible cigarettes. If you get a cigar company to sit there and go and prove that with their MRTP and everything, yeah, you could see that. I could see that actually. I mean, then they got a hell of a lot more money. They didn't have to go spend it on an MRT or a PMTA.
Right.
Sorry for the whole FDA rundown on stuff.
It's all very confusing.
Robert brings up a good point.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Robert does bring up a good point, and correct me if I'm wrong, but everything that's in our vape is independently, and that's the correct word, approved by the FDA or authorized. Is it approved or authorized?
The flavors are grass, but they're not approved literally for inhalation. They're approved for consumption. Right. But I would say technically they are already authorized because every ingredient in an e-cigarette is in a combustible cigarette.
Exactly. That's my whole point, and that's why I wanted to tell Robert, because he, obviously was maybe a little concerned or didn't know, and that's the way I always looked at it, and it's the same thing as, I mean,
and they didn't ban cloves because of the harms of flavor inhalation. They banned cloves because of youth.
Cloves.
Yeah. So with this whole inhalation stuff, that this hasn't really been approved for inhalation. It's like, well, we still have decades of people smoking it with, with flavors in there. I mean, I remember the stupid freaking cloves. Ugh, nasty cigarettes.
Nasty, man. Cloves are nasty.
I remember going to shows all the time, and you just could smell them a mile away.
Yeah.
And like everybody was like powwowed right out front of the club door, just sitting on the ground smoking cloves.
It was a certain type of people that actually smoke cloves, and that's where this is where the federal regulators, they need to get somebody. If they're going to get somebody at CTP, they need to get somebody who freaking smoked, okay, and actually smoked for several years in their life. And not somebody who grew up with smokers or whatnot. No, somebody who actually fucking smoked or whatnot. Because, I mean, there's a certain type of people, at least when I was in college, and it's like, yeah, I went to college in 2007, so it's 2 years before they banned, clubs. And there was a certain time, I went to this all-girls school, and there's a certain type of girl who always smoked the cloves. I mean, and everything. It wasn't. And so this whole like kids using it. What I noticed, in high school when we were smoking cigarettes, we tended to smoke what our parents smoked.
Yeah.
Because that's who we were taking our cigarettes from. So
exactly.
Or your local priest, or your local priest. That's where I stole my first cigarette.
No, I'm not Catholic.
You're horrible.
I came from like country bumpkin. I came from country bumpkin, like Michigan. I don't think there was a Catholic church in my town. Okay, some Baptists, some crazy Midwestern Baptists. Okay, and then like a lot of non-denominational Lutheran.
Yeah. Oh man. Hey man, he left those packs of Pall Malls all over the church, except the altar. But they were everywhere else, and they were always open. Yeah, they were everywhere.
Were they in the donation plate?
Probably. If he got his hands were always in the donation plate, so
that was his tithing.
Pack of Pall Malls. Boys, okay, that's all right.
And then I thought, as a Catholic, that I could just show up on Wednesday and go to confession, have it wiped clean. Unfortunately, I picked the wrong confession booth to go into because it was him. And he goes, "Oh, really?" So I got extra like 5 Hail Marys for that one. Yeah.
Did he stop leaving his cigarettes around?
No, he didn't. No. Yeah.
So did you quit confessing to that sin?
Yeah. Actually, I was looking through this a trending article I'm going to read after this show's over. A brief history of LSD treatment for alcohol addiction at the VA. I'm kind of curious.
Oh, well, you know about Ibogaine? It's a hallucinogen. Like you can get it out in Mexico. Apparently, it's supposed to be like it can cure opioid use disorder.
That's crazy.
They won't do anything.
Cure it?
Yeah, it's been known for probably 10 years now. But it's really, again, you can't get crap for studies here, especially on illegal drugs like that or whatnot and stuff. But
a
couple of people that I've known, that were, went from pills to heroin to fentanyl or whatnot. Yeah, they have used it and have been successful on it. I mean, but it's a crazy hallucinogen. I mean, you definitely be in a medical setting or whatnot because your hallucinations are just and really, really intense. Like apparently it's like 20 times worse than LSD.
Oh, then no.
Then that comes over the board.
Opioid use disorder. I mean, and that's like honestly, I really hate when they compare nicotine to fucking heroin. It pisses me off.
Yeah, that one makes me laugh. Yeah.
Well, it's just like no. Like your body. So you can't even compare it to alcohol use disorder.
No.
If you go to the hospital, you're going to be irritable if you don't have your nicotine. You're not going to be puking or convulsing or shaking or anything if you do not have nicotine. I know people who have gone to the hospital and they've had to bring a bar up to their room. This old lady from the country club, actually, she had to have a heart stop because she was such an alcoholic and they couldn't operate on her unless she had booze in her system.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
That's
oh
crazy.
yeah, don't started on that crap. It just pisses me off. It's like, do you not know addictions at all? I mean, I don't see people robbing convenience stores for their freaking cigarettes, okay? I mean, and stuff, you know. I mean, I do see punk kids robbing vape shops all the fucking time. I mean, but
hey, I have cameras that I watch every night, and I watch homeless people go to shopping centers and back lots of businesses just looking for cigarette butts that truck drivers threw down on the grounds or people, and they pick those up. And Lindsay's right. You're not going to see someone rob a convenience store for a pack of cigarettes. They will go out looking in garbage dumps and parks and businesses for cigarette butts.
Yeah, dressed up with the going picking through the ashtray. Yeah,
they're picking at them. I'm like, what the hell? They'll have like 20, 25 of them.
Level of addiction that I don't freaking know. Speaking of
and what a price! And what a price a pack of cigarettes are. I'm smoking. If I was still smoking and I'm paying that price, I'm smoking that thing until it tells me to stop.
I was shocked. They're $10, over $10 here. I had no idea.
Yeah, pack of Camels here is $12.
It's about $8. I was at the store earlier and I was checking out the prices, and it was like $8.51 for like the Marlboro like special selects or whatever, or something like the ghetto Marlboro brand. I mean, it's still Marlboro or whatever, but like if you buy them for two, you have to buy 2 packs though to get that price. So cigarettes are way expensive now. But speaking of
with all the tourism here, I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. But over 10, it was almost $11 for
when we're done with the show, I got to ask you a question about your place. I just don't want to ask the question about what your mayor's doing about tourism, because it'll give it away. One of your biggest tourism, okay? The thing I'm impressed, but I'm curious how they're going to implement that. But.
Yeah, it's I think it's $12.50 for a pack of Camels here in Mid-Est.
I would expect it to be a lot higher there. In Chicago, it's probably about $20.
When I started, they were 75 cents a pack. I mean,
79 cents a pack when I started.
75 cents. It was under, and well, that was if you went to a machine, you had to plug in a buck at that point.
Yeah.
But if you bought them, at a convenience store or something, mom and pop place, it's 75 cents.
Yep. I used to get a pack of cigarettes, a Snickers bar, and a 32-ounce soda for $2.
Yeah.
$2. Yeah. That was
mine was beer. But
that was lunch. That was lunch.
Yeah, I'm a little bit younger. I'm just a wee bit younger than you guys and stuff. So I actually probably would have quit smoking when I was 18 if I was still up in Michigan, because at that point it's like 2007. They were about $5-6 a pack. I moved down to South Carolina and they were like $3 a pack, and I was just like, oh well, I can get like 2 packs for the price of one and everything. Like walking out with a carton that was like $20-30 or something, where a carton in Michigan was $50, and I was a broke college kid. But then 2009 happened, and I was just like, oh crap, well there goes my Marlboros and stuff. I gotta go to the cheaper brand of cigarettes.
Or you waited to find the triple packs where you buy 2 packs, get 1 pack free. That's what that was big back in the 80s. Yeah, that was big in the 80s. You get them.
That was in part of the Tobacco Control Act that actually was free cigarettes went away too.
Yeah, I was like, and then of course we were all saving our Camel bucks.
And Marlboro bucks, yeah.
So we could get.
But I could do Camel Blues or whatever. Camel Light. Yeah. Oh yeah, because everything got changed to blue. You couldn't call it light anymore.
Just so we can get that beach chair that said Camel on it, for
I got some great duffel bags. I still use the duffel bags.
Hey, I actually
on them.
I actually know someone that actually saved them up to get that Marlboro jacket, and that jacket was pretty badass when he got it. Yeah, I was just like, dude, you that's crazy, because that was a lot of packs. Yeah. He was proud of that Marlboro jacket. He wore that thing everywhere, man.
Collecting your Marlboro points. I'm going to answer Robert's question.
Go.
Because I did look it up. I did not know myself, but there is, Robert, there is actually a difference. The most simplest answer is dependence is physical, addiction is neurological.
No, I don't agree with that. I really just don't. But I know what you're talking about. Medically, there is a difference. Yes.
Yeah, well, it just says drug dependence is typically defined as what causes tolerance and withdrawal, the physical effects. Addiction is characterized by having more of a mental component. They're independent of each other, according to this quote from July 17th, 2022. However,
okay, I'm going to skip this article, so I'll bring up Curtis Wright. Curtis Wright was the asshole who approved OxyContin and then went and worked for the makers of OxyContin. And then you find out that in court cases about almost 20 years after the approval, because they approve actual pharmaceutical drugs, they don't approve tobacco products, there was some shicey stuff. OxyContin got approved not on any clinical trials at all. They were allowed to sit there and say that it was less addictive than all these other drugs. It turns out it was actually more addictive and everything. And yeah, but OxyContin, when you were looking back in like the 2003 hearings, the Purdue Pharma kept going off of that one. And there's a difference between dependency and addiction. Now, I understand, yes, there's physical dependency, but at what point does your physical dependency cause you to become an addict?
Right.
Is the question on this one. I don't even think it's two sides of the same coin. I think literally, if you end up getting physically dependent on it, you're going to turn into a freaking addict, especially with opioids. Okay. I mean, and you watch people on that. And so, again, it's kind of the same stuff that you're seeing with THR, trying to conflate between cessation and cessation and tobacco harm reduction. In my head, I mean, okay, if you quit smoking, you are cessating, that's cessation from combustible cigarettes. You're still using nicotine, though. I mean, and again, though, and that goes into what are we trying to do? Are we trying to reduce the harms related to combustible cigarette use, or and stuff? So I get it, though, but you're absolutely right. They're legitimately a differentiation between it. But that being said, I don't know many addicts that do not have a physical dependency on something.
Well, I was going to say I agree with you in the sense that they are inherently linked in that if you talk about dependence being the physical element of it all, and then you say, well, the addiction is I just can't tweak my mind to break this dependence or this dependency. I think that they are inherently linked to one another. I always laugh there. I don't know. And this could be anecdotal, but I was told that there is a book out there on Guns N' Roses, and everyone knows that their first album was completely sewed together by engineers and people in the studio because the guys were so fucked up on alcohol and heroin all the time. But apparently there's a book, and I have not read it myself, but where Slash got up in the book, and a quote from Slash was that he was a responsible heroin user. I don't know. There's an oxymoronic thought.
Hey, well, there's functioning addicts. I mean, look at half of Congress. Okay, I mean,
right. Let me just say this. I've got all kinds of paperwork, and the way that I understand it and the way that I have seen it written down is, one, it's only really dependent. Nicotine is only dependency forming for a few people, not everybody.
Right.
It is just a handful when you get down to it.
Right.
And dependency, there is no harm. There is no real harm.
Right.
An addict will do anything.
Yeah.
To get their drug of choice, whatever that is. So without the harm, it is not. It's only dependency.
Yeah.
So there is a big difference.
I'm with you, Steve. I'm addicted to Mountain Dew too as well.
Today on the benefits of nicotine, actually, and I didn't realize that there were several studies about the way that nicotine affects your receptors in your brain, especially for people with ADHD. Schizophrenia, actually, and that it's actually there's a therapeutic part on it and stuff. And then the whole long terms is the long-term risks of addiction. But I still remember the 90s when they sat there and said, there's I don't know what the hell's going on, but if you could quit smoking 3 days, it'd be out of your system. That's where, when you start comparing it to heroin and stuff, and you compare it to the shelf life, I mean, it's kind of like the half-life of how long this drug lasts in your system. Nicotine does not last in your system long enough for it to be that
Exactly.
That physically dependent. Now, I think it's habit forming. I think that a lot of people use nicotine, and especially, with the way that we used to, smoke cigarettes or use it, after eating.
Caffeine.
Or after sex, I mean, caffeine,
right?
Coffee in the morning, coffee after you've been drinking, and, when you're having dessert and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, there's certain ways that you associate it. And again, that's why I think vaping's been one of the better, tobacco harm reduction tools also, is because it's hand to mouth. So when you're, substituting it for that cigarette that you do and all the other times, it's more, instead of just slapping a patch on or, putting a stick of gum in your mouth.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would say, I would dare to even say that I think people that engage in vaping, I mean, unless you're, have gone down the route of just specifically getting tied to 50 milligram disposables, but the offering on the table with vaping is there are step downs that you can wean yourself off. But I would dare to say that the vast majority of vapors, if they really wanted to, could find themselves not addicted to nicotine, but able to finally put the vape away and just be like okay with things,
Yes, addicted to the nicotine. I literally think it's the hand to mouth fucking thing for me. Like when I'm on a plane,
me too.
Well, that's
because I don't get super irritable, and actually, like I'm doing disposables now, and I need to go back to my refillable pod. But like I was doing 50 at first, and I went down to a 35 and had no issues. Now I couldn't go down to a freaking 9, okay? Because I was just like, it felt like I was, it's like when you're smoking paper and everything, it's just like, this is not hitting the way that it needs to hit or everything. But I didn't have a problem stepping it down. I'd like to see more stuff in like 25, actually, just the gradual like 10 decline to 10% decline.
And that's kind of the point that I was trying to make, is that me too, right? It's like you do 6 and then you go to 3 and you're like, and you're like all day long. But I mean, but my mind at that point in time is like, well, I still want to vape. But I guess the other point to that is that if, like with something that's more serious, like heroin or an opioid or something like that, that you build a dependency on and then you become addicted to it. Like there's no off ramp for that stuff unless you like literally go to some kind of,
the people who quit smoking, how many of them relapse? Because even with opioid addict, like opioid people suffering opioid use disorder, like they got like a 90%, 90 to 95 to, I think some studies sit there and say 99% chance of relapse. That's where like one of your addictions that's really, really hard to actually just sit there and walk away from. I don't think. I mean, I want to sit there and say it's probably about 60% relapse of people who quit smoking. Which should tell you that addictive properties of this. I think alcoholics have even more of a greater chance of relapsing.
And, you don't have flashbacks. It's 10 years down the road after you quit too. So keep that in mind.
Hey, I still do. I mean, I will smoke a cigarette once in a while. Actually, and that's what I kind of like about tobacco harm reduction, that I like when I quit in 2022, I went through a really bad breakup and I, kind of went back to cigarettes, but I never bought a full pack. I was just buying packs for my brother and smoking half of them and everything and stuff. And then after 3 months, I was like, this all tastes nasty, but once every I'll hit a cigarette, I'll smoke one. I mean,
or your brother says, dude, you need to buy a pack, Lindsay. Quit bumming off me, damn it.
Especially when he's broken, I buy a pack for him, and stuff. So,
I love you, sis, but
I really liked it because he smokes the 305s. If you're in Florida, you know them or whatnot and stuff. And I bought Marlboros and stuff, name brand. He was disappointed when I was just like, I'm done smoking, but I kind of like that you could fall off the bandwagon, a little bit, but not really fall back, fall off of losing your job or whatnot and all that stuff. And, I completely, because I mean, they still flavor vapes taste a hell of a lot better than a cigarette.
That they do.
Need that combustion, okay? I want that,
Right. Well, I'll just finish my thought with saying it just drives me nuts. If people really do see addiction as an independent element away from dependency, if they do view them as two separate things, then I would say the statement that, if we quit smoking to trade off for vaping, and that people's most common asinine comment is, well, you're just trading one addiction for another. you know, and then, and again, you know, and then you couple that with the stupid argument that nicotine is like heroin. It's like, what kind of a picture are you painting about people who vape? I mean, like Lindsey was saying, is like, you know, we're not hanging out on the street corner going through withdrawals, sweating and saying we're going to do some things that we wouldn't otherwise do to get another vape. Do you get my point? Like, we're not selling our couch and siphoning gas out of gas tanks
I haven't seen any
to buy a vape.
Get vapes.
The imagery you're creating about like what an actual vapor is like is just, it drives me up a wall. It's like, no, they're like literally they're the flat billed guys with the beards outside the vape shop. You know what I mean?
With the tattoo neck.
See the teenagers acting like freaking heroin addicts, but they already act like that when they lose their cell phone.
Yes, they do. Absolutely.
So it's like, is this nicotine, or is this just your kid's inability to like actually handle withdrawal of anything that brings them comfort and stuff? So I mean, yeah, kids like freak out on anything. You know, God forbid they can't have social media. God forbid we were at an actual blackout. I mean, I'd go kayaking as long as you have like, you know, have an internet blackout, make sure the beer is cold and everything. I'll go hang out, and I got music already downloaded from my YouTube. So
there you go.
It's that trickle down effect, right? So if you're gonna paint with this broad brush and make people have this image of what people who vape are going through or what they're experiencing, and then you take that and you push it and you make it all about the kids, well, then of course every mother in America is going to run around with their hands in the air like, my poor child has got worms in his brain, and you know, I'm going to lose him. You know,
that's what really pisses me off. I watched this thing called it's a Texas Pictures. It's like a fentanyl and overdose series, and they got like over 230 videos now where they're interviewing. A lot of times it's moms or whatnot that buried their kids. And what always pisses me off is like these moms that like had no idea about fentanyl. But you know, they knew about Juul, you know, they know about Evalai, you know, they know about, you know, youth vaping and this youth vaping epidemic, and they had no idea about freaking fentanyl. And it's like, yeah, there's not any parent that's burying their kid because of disposable vape or because of fucking Juul. You do have a lot of parents who are still to this day burying their kids due to pills disguised to look like FDA approved ones. And it's just freaking depressing. It's like really depressing. I mean, I know the numbers, like 2019, 2021, youth vaping went down 45%. Kids dying from an overdose increased by 109%. Where the hell was the public health vitriol on that one? I mean, these are parents that are burying their kids. And also, I mean, a lot of these, what you're seeing with these states is, you know, they're bringing in legislation to, you know, overdose, you know, they're, you know, charging people who sold the pill to them, you know, with murder. And like sometimes it's a teenager themselves. And that's really sad too when you see that story. And it's just like, you now just have two families that are going to be completely forever defined by this. One that's never going to see their kid again. One that their kid is going to be wholly freaking changed because he's about to go to prison as a 17-year-old.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's messy either way you slice it. Just for the record, apparently John's internet was getting reset. He doesn't seem to know or understand why. I'm giving him a few minutes to see if he can't get back here in the window. But beyond that, it was a good show. Really good show. We're kind of running over at this point in time, so we started
late because of you anyway.
Oh, so that's right. Okay, well then we'll give him another 2 minutes.
We've only been live for like not even 2 hours, so
yeah, we're in there. Yeah, we got a lot of people that are up late in other countries and stuff. Well, you guys are welcome to stay up with us. We don't care. Just keep vaping nicotine. You'll be up all night with us. But other than that, no, it's just the whole thing is just very frustrating. So I don't know. I'd like to think that I'm not addicted to vaping. I think for me, it's, you know, because I really don't drink that much anymore. Like I do, but it's like I don't drink during the week. It's mostly a social activity for me. But I'd like to think that I'm not addicted to vaping. I'd like to think I enjoy vaping, and it's probably like the one thing that helps me maintain my sanity throughout the day.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to chime in a little bit, because for me, having anxiety, it helps my anxiety, and it keeps me from taking harmful meds that don't really work that good for me, but this I can take all day and use it, and it helps me all day long, so they want to label it as addicted. That's bullshit. I'm sorry, but that is, it's a form of medication is the way I look at it. Right. And my doctor looks at it as well and says, hey, as long as you're not smoking, I can't find any kind of help, any kind of hurt that's coming from it. You're looking great. Your tests are all good, all this stuff. I can't even tell that you ever smoked. So as long as he's telling me that and he's saying thumbs up, keep doing it, whatever, just don't smoke.
Yeah, well, that's something. That's something that I would probably like to see. Maybe a growing support from within the medical community for adults who are vaping to support it, knowing that they were former smokers for a lot of years, and then as we get older, maybe a lot of us, or some of us anyway, end up frequenting our doctors for more and more reasons as our bodies age and we start experiencing those things. But you can only imagine.
See a doctor, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, go see the doc for whatever else is aching and paining you. But it would be nice to see that inside medical support for people who were former smokers, and those doctors are seeing firsthand people who are experiencing a health resurgence or an improving of their overall health position just because they've changed to vaping, which may potentially alleviate some of those other unintended or connected elements of getting older. I mean, we all are going to experience, we're not going to be 100% healthy all the time, but yeah.
But my doctor says, okay, so you're getting older. I know I'm getting older, right? But he also says that my body and my tests are saying that I'm actually getting younger as I'm getting older.
Yeah.
So, he's all for it,
Wow, I figured you lived by the fountain of youth. Who really knew it was true?
Yeah. I talked to his staff, and most of his staff used to smoke. Now they vape.
Right.
You
they vape now.
Yes.
Huh? What was that?
You skirt. There's a SNL skit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Skirt.
Yeah. It's been for the past 2 weeks. It's just kind of been you skirt. That's what I do.
Yeah. You never loved me, Mom. I know. Yeah, I know it. I know it well.
Skirt.
So at this point in the show, we're gonna yeet and skirt our way off of the internet. I just want to thank everybody for joining in on the show. We love it when you guys come back week after week. The crowd grew as the show kind of crescendo there. We're up to 22, so we really appreciate everybody who comes and takes part in the show. It is an interactive experience in a way, but absolutely, Michelle, thank you for being here tonight. Lindsey, as always, thank you. You're like our new co-host now. You're probably gonna be back. Yep, and then you'll have to. Yeah,
hey, I'm trying to pimp out THR 101, so thank you for giving me a platform, to share stuff with,
Plug it all you want, and then next week, you have to pick a new place on the map. So we're gonna spin you around and see what continent you end up on next week. So
next time, you better to tell me when I'm actually facing the map, okay? When instead of no.
I didn't think about it at the time. I didn't think about
my hands out and stuff. You guys probably love that.
All right, kids. So once again, thanks everybody. Everybody here on the panel, take a good long, hard look in that camera.
Love you guys. Thank you.
Thanks. Good night. Good night, everybody. Oh, wait. I got to know how to play it. How do you play it? How do you play the clip? I don't know how to do it. I'm clicking it. It's not going here. I know what to do.
Bye.